Hello everyone. In this example, we're going to do another histogram. In fact, we'll actually do the different histograms for this example. So if you look at the slides, example 2, we have the weights in pounds of 25 male children in the age group of 7 to 9-year-olds, and they were recorded. So we have our raw data here. So the first child was 55 pounds, the second child was 53 pounds, the third child was 64 pounds, so on and so forth. So for example, remember our outcome was X. So XI, or being X1, would be 55 pounds. X2 would be 53 pounds. X3 would be 64 pounds, up to the last one, XN, which in this case, we have 25 total children's weights. That means that our sample size N is 25. And in fact, because of that, I'm actually going to start by just pre-filling in the fact that our frequency will sum up to 25, because the sum of your frequencies will be the same thing as your sample size. Now, we don't have a fully filled out table. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill out this table. So remember we talked about our different ways that we could find our class widths? Well, we could do it based on our data. In this case, it looks like the highest value is going to be 69 and the lowest value is going to be 50, meaning that we could do 69 minus 50, which would give us 19. We want to have 4 classes, which would give us a little under 4, which means that we're going to round up to 5. Or because we already have one of the classes labeled, we could just count it. Remember, you start with the first number though. 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. Now, because all of our numbers are whole numbers, that means that we know that our tolerance will be equal to 1. So this means that my next group is going to go up by 1 to 55. And then again, I'm going to count it. 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. Because we have a class width of 5. And then I'm going to go up by 1, so I'm going to go up to 60. So again, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. My tolerance is 1, so I'm going to go up by 1 to 65. And then 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. Now, if you have a much bigger interval and it's kind of difficult to count with your hands or anything like that or in your head, remember that what you can always do is you can start with your lower class limit, you can add your class width, but subtract 1 from it, or subtract your tolerance rather. So in this case, it would be 50 plus 5 is 55, minus our tolerance of 1 would give us 54. Go up to 55, then again, plus 5 would give you 60, minus our tolerance of 1 would give us 59. So if you have a bigger interval, you're going to want to use that method. Now, we're going to skip the frequency for now because I want to show you again that we don't even need this until we're actually preparing to do our histogram. So first thing we're going to do after we do our classes is we're going to find our midpoint. So if you remember, our midpoint is just the average of these two values in the interval. So we have 50 and 54. So if we take the average of that, the midpoint of 1, so I'll call this M1 for midpoint of group 1, is going to be 50 plus 54 divided by 2. So this is going to be 104 divided by 2, which is going to give us 52 as our midpoint. So remember what we talked about. Now, because these are all equal class widths, this means that I can just add 2 to the So because these are all equal width, I can just add 2 to my lower class limit. So this is going to be 55 plus 2, or 57. This one's going to be 62, and this one's going to be 67. Now, I want to find my lower and upper class boundaries. So if you remember, for our lower class boundaries, we take our lower class limits and we subtract half of our tolerance. Well, our tolerance is equal to 1, so we're going to subtract 0.5. So our lower class boundary for the first group is going to be 49.5. Next group is going to be 54.5, 59.5, and 64.5. Then for our upper class boundaries, we're going to take our upper class limits and we're going to add half of the tolerance. This means it's going to be 54 plus 0.5, or 54.5, 59.5, 64.5, and 69.5. Now, this is a good place to double check that you didn't make any mistakes here, because your upper class limit should be the same as the next lower class limit at this point, because all we did is we closed that gap between our intervals. So now we have the entire setup we need to create our histograms, which means that we could actually kind of start preparing now. So I'm going to just do a very rough histogram for each one. And we can do this either with our class boundaries or our midpoints. So I'm going to do it with midpoints just to make it a little quicker to draw. So this is going to be 52, 57, 62, and 67. And I'm going to do this for each of them. Now, don't forget, we do need to label these. So for our x-axis, each of these are just going to be our midpoints. So midpoint. And I also want to label what each of these graphs are going to be. So this is just going to be a histogram, which remember, a histogram just means a frequency histogram. This one is going to be a relative frequency histogram. The next one is going to be a cumulative frequency histogram. And the last one is going to be a cumulative relative frequency histogram. Okay, so now we have the starter for all of our histograms. So the next thing is we have our raw data, and we don't have any frequencies. So we need to figure out how many fall into each of these groups. So for the first thing, we're going to look at our data point, 55. This will fall into this group, so I'm just going to put a little tally, and I'm going to mark it so that I know I've counted that one. The next one is 53. Next one is 64. Next one is 67. Next one is 62. Next one is 59. 52. 57. 57. 66. 66, 59, 69, 53, 55, 69, 66, 61, 59, 57, 67, 57, 69, 60, and 50. So now I'm just going to write down what these different frequencies are. So in this case, this one is 4, this one is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, this one is 4, and this one is 8. And of course, I want to double check that they add up to 25 because I know there should be 25 total data points from the problem. So 4 plus 9 is 13, plus 4 is 17, 17 plus 8 equals 25. Okay, good. We're on the right track. So next we're going to do our relative frequency histogram, or relative frequency. So again, I'm going to do this in terms of percent, which basically just means I'm going to find the relative frequency as a decimal and then multiply it by 100. So in this case, 4 out of 25 is equal to, let me pull out my calculator for this, 16%. 9 divided by 25 is going to be 36%. Again, we have 4, so this is also going to be 16%. And then 8 divided by 25 is going to give me 32%. And if we add all these up together, these should add up to 100%. So right now we have everything we need that we could find we could draw our histogram and draw our relative frequency histogram. So next though, we're going to do our cumulative frequency. So our cumulative frequency, if you remember, we just take our first frequency, in this case 4, and then we add up. So for the next one, we have 9 plus 4 is going to be 13. For the next one, it's going to be 4 plus that 13 is going to give me 17. And then 17 plus 8 should give me 25. And then for our cumulative relative frequency, remember, we can take our cumulative frequency and then find the relative frequency of that. And I'll do this as a percentage also. Or I can take my relative frequency and add those up together. So you can do whichever one you want to do. So in this case, I'm going to take my relative frequencies and add them up. So I'm going to start with my first relative frequency, which is 16%. And then 16 plus 36% is going to be 52%. 52% plus 16 is going to be 68%. And then 68% plus 32% is going to be 100%. So remember, you can double check your work by the fact that your cumulative frequency should sum up to or should be the same as your total frequency, and your cumulative relative frequency should actually sum up to 100%. Okay, so now we can draw our histograms for each of these. So for our first one, we're doing frequency, and it looks like we have values from 4 to 10. So I'm going to do these in terms of 2. So this could be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So for my first group, which is around 52, I have a frequency of 4. So I'm going to draw my rectangle around that 52, up to 4. The next one I have is 9, so I'm going to go up to 9. The next one I have is 4 again. And the last one I have is 8. So this is going to be our frequency. So for the next one, we're going to be putting our relative frequency on our y-axis. And if we look at our relative frequencies, it looks like we have values from 16 to 32. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 10. So percent each. So this is going to be 10%, 20%, 30%, and 40%. So the first one is 16%, which puts it about, here. Second one is 36%, which will put it up to a little over halfway between that group. The next one is 16% again. And the last one is 32%, so it's just going to be a little above there. And like we talked about before, your frequency histogram and your relative frequency histogram should pretty much look the same, just with maybe slightly different scaling based on how you did the scale of your y-axis. Now let's do our cumulative frequency histogram. So the same idea. In this case, this is going to be our cumulative frequency. And our scale here is we seem to have 4 to 25. So I'm going to do these, and I'm going to do it in terms of tens again. So 10, oh, sorry, not tens. I'll do it in fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So starting with my first midpoint, I go up to 4. My second midpoint, I go up to 13. My third one, I go up to 17. And then my fourth one, I go up all the way to 25. And then for our cumulative relative frequency, our y-axis is going to be the cumulative relative frequency. And I go from 16 to 100%. So in this case, I'm going to do it by 20%. So this is going to be 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So my first one is 16, which is going to put it somewhere about here. So we do it around your midpoint. Second one's going to be 52%. So I'm going to go up to about here. Third one is 68%. And then we go all the way up to 100%. And there you have it. This is how you can go from raw data, and we had just partially filled out table of one class, and we were able to fill out everything. But remember, we could have done this with no table by first starting with figuring out what your class width is, and start with your smallest data point. In this case, it was 50. You add your class width, in this case 5, minus 1, so 50 plus 4 is going to take us 54. Go up by your tolerance, 55, and then go up by 4, 59. Go up by 1, 60, plus 4, 64. Go up by 1, 65. Go up by 4, 69. You now have your classes. You could fill this all out without even having a table. Thank you for watching. To continue learning, click the linked video here for the next lesson. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.